Hi guys, it's Jay and welcome back to my channel. And in this video I'm gonna talk about my resolutions of 2015 and my resolutions of 2016. So in the year of 2015 I had 3 bookish resolutions. My first resolution was to read 30 books and I reached that. And if you wanna see which 30 books I read in 2015, you can go to my Goodreads profile and check it out. My second resolution was to not buy any more books, and that was a fail because in the past year I did 2 book haul videos, which means that I bought a lot of books. But then at the same time I bought really good books, so hopefully that justifies my lack of self-control a bit. And my last resolution was to read as much as possible from my current TBR list, from then current TBR list, and this was partly success and partly fail because I did read some of the books that were on my TBR list for a long time, but I also read a lot of the books that I bought impulsively, so that means that some of the books were not on my TBR list. Now I'm gonna talk about which of the 30 books were most memorable to me for different reasons. And so first I'm gonna talk about the most exciting books for me. The first book that really excited me was The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson, and in my multiple previous videos I've mentioned that it really kept me on the edge. It was really well written story and I loved it a lot. So the second book that excited me a lot was Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, and as I also mentioned in my previous videos that I liked it a lot, and I liked it even after I watched the movie. As some of you might remember, I told you guys that I was fooled by the book twice. First when I watched the movie, and second when I was reading the book. So that was how good the book was, and I really liked how the author managed to fool me twice. So it was definitely a very exciting read. And the last book that makes to this list is The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. I didn't do a review on this book, but if you guys wanna see the review, I am more than willing to do a review. So the book is about 1,000 pages, and so it's a pretty long read, but it's a very well structured story, the characters of which seem really alive. Only after 100 pages you feel like you know the characters so well. It feels like the characters do actually exist in your life. Like, that's how well structured and well written this book is. So I was excited whenever I was reading this book, and if I have to reread it, I will definitely do that. So the next category of the books that I'm going to talk about is the books that moved me the most throughout the year of 2015. And the first book, and also I want to mention that the order of the books that I'm talking does not have any rhyme or reason. The first of the books that moved me a lot was Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and I did a review on that book, so if you want to know what I thought, you can go back and check that out. And the second book that moved me was When Rabbit Howls by Trudy Chase, and I also did a review on that book, so you can also go back and check out that video. And about my review on When Rabbit Howls, at that time I explained multiple personality disorder in a not very correct way. So if you are a psychology major or if you are a psychology professional, please excuse that little error, and I know that it is wrong, and if you still think that you need to let me know, please do that in the comment section of that video. I am more than welcome to constructive criticism, as you guys know. The next book that moved me a lot was The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank, and I did a video on my thoughts about the book and the negative comments that I saw on Goodreads, as you guys know, and I told you guys that I will not be reviewing this book because it is not a work of fiction, so I don't think I have the rights to judge a person's life and determine if the book was entertaining enough. If you wanna check out my video about what I thought about Anne Frank's diary and what I saw on Goodreads, you can also go back and check. The next book that moved me a lot was The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat and Other Clinical Tales by Oliver Sacks. This book moved me a lot because after reading this book, I had a completely new view of disability. This book really helped me to see myself and the concept of ability and disability in new light. So if you want to check it out, please do so. I also believe that I did a review on this book, or like more of my thoughts on this book. So if you want to check it out, please go ahead and do it. The next book that moved me a lot. So for this category, I have a lot of books. I guess like I'm easily moved by books. The next book I have here is The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. As you guys might know, this is a classic work and it's a pretty short book, so if you want to check it out, I highly recommend. And if you want to see a review on this book, you can also let me know in the comment box down below. And the next book that moved me a lot was Number Our Days by Barbara Meyerhoff, and I read this book for my class that I was taking this last semester, anthropological study of Jewish old people who lived in California. The writing was very fluid. It was not rigid as you might expect an academic work to be. So the writing style was very good. While reading this book, you really get to know all people that were the subjects of her studies, and reading that book made me very nostalgic and think about what I would be doing when I become old. Since I'm in my early 20s, old age is not one of the things that I think a lot. And so reading that book made me think about, like my grandparents, my parents, and myself. It made me think about what old age means. So if you want to check this book out, I highly recommend it. And the last book that I have here is 45 Pounds by K.A. Barson, and I also did a review on this book. This book deals mostly with body image and weight. It's a very great pick-me-up book. It's kind of obvious that it was targeted towards teenagers and not necessarily like older people, but if you just want a quick and easy pick-me-up book that says that however you look is fine, go ahead and read it. I highly recommend it, and I would probably reread it again if I ever feel not good about how I look or how I feel about how I look. But yeah, I think it's a great read. The last category of the books is the books that were not what I have expected them to be. Here I'm gonna talk about the books that were kind of disappointing to me. Don't be discouraged if I mention one of the books that you wanted to read, because at the end of the day, my video is just my opinion. The first book that I have here is Eve's Tattoo by Emily Prager. But yeah, so this book, I didn't do a review on it, but if you want to, I can do it. So basically this book is about this American woman in the 60s or 70s, about that era, and she decides to get an ID number of a World War II victim. And whenever people ask her about the tattoo, she tells people a different story of what might have happened to any female victim of that horrible time. And so I was very intrigued by the idea, by the concept of the book, and I did really like a lot of the World War II stories that might have been true, but at the same time I was very disappointed about the main plot of the book, about what was currently happening to the main character. Just like a lot of the things, and especially the ending of the book, that did not make any sense. The book had a lot of promise. The second book that did not reach its potential, in my opinion, was Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan, and I did a borderline ranked video about this book, so if you want to go check that out, please go ahead. And the last book I have here is Bones to Ashes by Kathy Rakes, or Kathy Rikes, whichever way you pronounce your name. As I said in my review of this book, I really love Bones, and I was expecting a lot, maybe like too much from the book series, and when I read the book, it just did not meet my expectations, and I was kind of disappointed, but I still love the show. Next, I'm gonna talk about my resolutions for 2016, and I think I have 3 of them. My first resolution is to read 40 books. I'm adding 10 more books to my previous year's challenge, which was to read 30 books. I could read 30 books without much hassle, so this year I'm gonna challenge myself to read 40 books and see if I can do it. Okay, the next resolution that I have here is finish reading all the books that I have but I haven't read. So basically read whatever I have here but I haven't read. Hopefully I will end up reading the 40 books from here, and I think I will still have some books that I haven't read, because I maybe have read 1/3 of my collection and I have over 100 books, so there's that. But I will hopefully read as much as I can from this pile and not from any others. My last resolution is to buy only 10 books. As I mentioned earlier in the video, one of my previous year's resolutions was to not buy any books at all, and that was kind of like a dilemma that I faced a lot whenever I wanted to buy a book. And so whenever I bought a book, I felt very guilty about my purchase, even if the book was on my TBR list and I wanted to read the book a lot. So this year I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a leeway and say that I can buy only 10 books. The first of which I already bought. So you guys can definitely expect one book haul, hopefully nothing more than that, throughout this year. And or maybe I can divide it into like 5 books and 5 books. We'll see how it goes. These 3 are my resolutions for the next year, and if I haven't done a review or my thoughts about video on any of the books that I've mentioned, and you want to see and hear what I think about the books, you can let me know in the comment box down below. You can also talk about what books that you read and how many books you read and how many you intended to read, and which one of the books that impressed you a lot or like excited you a lot or it didn't quite meet your expectations. You can always do that in the comment box down below. If you have your resolutions for this year, you can also let me know. So this is it for this video. I will try my best to make it not as long as it is right now. I hope you guys are having a good time. I hope that your winter break is not over yet. As I always say, please remember that you are an amazing human being, beautiful inside and out. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!